If you're ever worried about the connection between the Heisenberg uncertainty principle and unclogging your toilet, Mr. Tim Allen has got a book for you. I'm Not Really Here is his exploration of men in midlife and their place in the universe. For the past 5 years, when he has not been taping his successful television series Home Improvement or making movies like The Santa Claus and Toy Story, he has been pondering the meaning of life and wondering what to have for breakfast. I'm pleased to have him back on this program. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Now, this story evidently begins because the idea is your wife goes away.
Right. She takes the baby, and they go away for the weekend, and I'm going to sit there and have a guy's weekend, you know, go out late with my friends. Yeah. And everything starts taking left turns. You know, I almost hit somebody on the freeway. Yeah. It makes me ponder how quickly your life could change. And then I'm putting a hood ornament on my new hot rod, and I spend, like I've done so much in my life the last 4 years, is look for stuff in my house. And in that search, I end up, you know, finding out other things about myself and other questions I have, and a little bit about malaise and about turning 40-ish, as they say. And I said it was a culmination of a lot of things. When the publisher said, let's do another book, and I said, no. It's for me, a comedian and a performer, it's a rather unpleasant experience because it takes so much time to write books.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw this, I said, why is he doing this?
Yeah.
He doesn't need the money. It takes time. He takes it reasonably serious. You know, he doesn't want to write something that's stupid.
Right.
You know, and you did it anyway.
Well, I tried it because I said if I can challenge myself and write, I'd love to write about what I have a passion about. I don't want to say new age. It's just some of these questions I have because I was a science major and I started investigating this for about the last 5 years. I've been heavy into reading about quantum mechanics.
Right.
Quantum
mechanics?
Well, I wonder what happens when you take an engine apart.
Yeah.
And then one day I was thinking, what happens if you take the piston apart itself and then you take the metal? What's the metal made of? And I knew all that's from science class. It's atoms, eventually molecules.
Right.
And then I started reading some books that suggest that that's not exactly the case. And then one of these writers said, no one's actually ever seen an atom. And I read that and I said, come on, this should be on, you know, on the news somewhere. And truly, no one, they've seen shadows of them. And once you keep dividing particles down, there is truly nothing there in the sense, in the traditional sense of what knock on wood, what matter is. And I started reading these things and I got very confused. I said, well, if there's nothing actually making up me or the body, then what's the point of things? And it got me on this spiral where my wife said, snap out of it. Read something else. Yes. You know, just read it. Can't you read a science fiction book like it? And I started putting this all together and trying to get an answer out of this. And then I started reading different books, and I was doing a lot of research, and I ended up getting into the Eastern religions, because some of these physicists are getting pretty wacky. What they're saying, if they admit what they're saying is there might be an interconnectedness on a subatomic level that we were unaware of, which means we're all pretty much the same deal.
You went to make a movie. What was it called? Jungle Jungle or something?
Jungle to Jungle.
Jungle to Jungle. And you've got your computer there, and you're connected to the internet,
right? And
you're going on this search for all these questions.
For all these questions. And I'm back and forth with this. I said, when they work, I mean, this place this is a computer nightmare. I don't know what's going on in this place. There's so many computers in this building. It was
in the Bloomberg building.
Boy, oh boy.
I know. This is heaven for you, huh?
Power outage here must be a nightmare. We're down. The whole oh boy.
Half of Manhattan's east side is down.
But I got on and when it worked, I was able to, you know, I was in the rainforest. I was able to get on this satellite phone and sometimes get my manuscript back to be retyped and then back to me. And this is the problem that the director had when he said, I was always. Am I done with the scene? Yeah, you are. Well, I got to go finish chapter 2. And this is exactly why he was the same director as Santa Claus.
Yeah, and he said what? And he said, would you please stop it?
Why you write
your
a book
another time?
Yeah, write your book some other time. I said, well, I have a deadline, and now I've got, you know, publishing deadlines.
You love the internet because you're curious by nature, and you can go fish for all those answers.
Well, I find it incredible what computers do when they're right. But if you have computers and you know them, it's like my brother said, it's like a dishwasher. You load it, and you unload it, and it does something in between.
Yeah.
And so I used to write on a legal pad, and he said, well, how much time are you saving actually using the computer? Doing this book taught me if you use them right, they're valuable tools.
Were you interested in things like this when you were growing up? I mean, you were.
You know, all during my life, things have happened to me that were a little odd. I mean, I think I saw a UFO when I was a kid, but I'm a reasonable, I look at things very scientifically because I'm a big science freak. Yeah. And so he said, well, it could be a weather balloon and all this. But we never explained it. I had a bout one time during college, a very innocent situation with a very good friend of mine. nothing spurious about the activity. We were able to talk without speaking, and it did happen. We've known each other 25 years. He's got 3 kids, normal guy. Every time we get together, he said, "We did do that." I said, "Yeah, I don't know what happened. Just one point we were talking and noticed that we weren't moving our mouths." It never happened again, but these kinds of things suggested to me that reality, as we look at it, is a dazzling kind of thing. There might be more to it than we think.
Back to sort of another part of this too, other than I assume I'm not really here is based on everything what we've just talked about.
Right.
You know, that's where the title comes from. We are, but we can't find ourselves.
Right.
You know, were you feeling a kind of malaise? I mean, does Tim Allen sort of say, what am I doing with myself, and what am I about?
Well, there's so many things that affected that. I can't really have fun unless everybody else is having fun, and sometimes I get so fatigued with racism in the world and hatred. Eventually, just you can't be real happy when you see this stuff happening.
Yeah.
At the same time,
Rwanda, and you say,
oh, that's why it gets boring. The behavior of all of us as a human race sometimes gets just boring. Why don't we just grow up or wake up, or let's just try to be nice for a couple months. Maybe that'll be just try something else. We've been at this for so long, it's just become boring. And then along with that, those feelings aside, I had a dinner with about 6 of my friends here in New York last time I was here. And we used to just go crazy, these guys. And in a little dinner, everybody's sitting there just going, and there's a collective sigh, I said,
of exhaustion, of
that's what I said. I
of...
went outside, and we talked, getting in a cab, and one of the guys says, I don't know if I'm half empty or half full anymore. You get 40-ish, and you all of a sudden, it's perspective. People are going, boy, you dance pretty good for an old guy. Wow. People don't know who the Beatles are, Boy, Paul McCartney, was he in a band before Wings? There's a whole generation that knows nothing about it. And all of a sudden you realize you've moved, you're in a whole new era.
Who was in World War II?
Yeah, what was World War II? There was a war then?
Yeah.
And it reminds me of where I am and my place, and all of a sudden this started getting, it's not depression, it's not fatigue, it's just a little malaise. That's the word I came up with. And it was a group of us sitting there, all about 40-ish, and guys were pondering.
And what are you doing to come out of it?
What I'm doing to come out of it is as my wife would say, snap out of it. There's stuff to do.
It's about time.
It's about just snap out of it.
You've had enough time to be.
Yeah. Just go out, and it's a matter of
go fix something.
Go fix something. Do something. Get active.
And so what are you doing?
Well, what I'm doing is trying to find
writing books and making movies and doing a hit television show.
And still investigating what I can do. It's I think Michael Jackson's one song, he said, to change the world, the first thing you want to change is the man in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the change, I have to become a better person.
Change yourself.
Change myself. So I set some goals about what I'd like to do to be less judgmental.
And what's on that? Okay.
Basically,
what is less judgmental?
I just want to do one thing in that.
I think this is you're on a good track.
Just pick one thing rather than be a zealot as a Christian. You try to do everything. It just doesn't work.
But the only thing you want to do is be less judgmental? That's a step.
But I've been trying this for almost 15 years. I've been trying this. It's very difficult not to judge people. I'm getting really close to not doing it. So now the threshold between seeing somebody and going, boy, what a beautiful man. That it's very difficult. But now the threshold's getting. You could be a wonderful person.
Where that?
Yeah. Nice clothes, but I do like that color combination for a bowler.
So you're doing well though. It's better, and
well, I'm taking steps. I'm taking
15 years though. It's about.
Well, it's tough to not judge people, and this is how difficult it is. And I think it's for a Christian, it's nice to try one thing Christian and do that.
Yeah, but I mean, just to be not judgmental seems to me that's not a monumental task. I mean, we need to.
But think about it.
We need to set other goals here. Yeah. Can we add a couple of other goals here?
Well, I want to add I want to start doing projects that challenge and spur other people on the same kind of behavior. And I said, think a little bit more. Spend some time reading.
Now, what about your relationship last time we talked about, I think it may have grown out of this show, Camille Paglia.
Right.
She saw you on the show and
we
contacted you and all this stuff. Is that relationship continuing? Are you still
we're getting married.
pen pals?
No, we're getting married now. She's decided to move another direction, so have I. And everything's...
What does Ms. Allen say about this?
Well, she's going to join, so it's going to work out.
It's going to be a threesome
thing. It's going to be a wonderful
It's going to be... Well, did you learn anything from your dialogue with Ms. Paglia?
We talked and found out we agreed on so much there was not much conflict between us.
Really?
Because we both have similar points of view. And we did an interview in a magazine, and was
it Esquire? Something?
Yeah, they expected a big conflict. Instead, we both agreed on, well, We both like women.
Yeah.
We, you know,
Right,
we both
that's right.
agree that sometimes the power of beauty should not be underestimated. I mean,
Yeah.
women are beautiful, and it shouldn't be, I don't think, put on a pedestal and made other women feel negative about it.
Yeah.
But it is a power women.
Did you agree on pornography?
We have two different versions of it. The same thing about strip clubs. I find it very, I find it amazing, always as a man, very threatening that the power these women have in these strip clubs, and she finds the same thing. She thinks it's wonderful these women can take control
all
the men
in that audience are under their control.
under their control,
and they're doing so obvious things.
Yes,
and
it's so ridiculous. You see these men.
I know.
And I don't know
and
that
each one of the men in the audience thinks that that woman is in love with
right.
them.
And I find it very threatening and very. Not threatening, but the power women have in that area is very threatening.
Yeah. And for Camille, for Polly, it's just delightful.
She thinks it's great.
When you finished this, did you find out any answers here that?
Well, I think it's another step, another plateau. I really wanted to get over with this because it was starting to bother the other. I had 3 people help me do research, and one of the men that helped me do research had no idea of any of this information.
Yeah.
And he did my journey over 5 or 6 years with this in just about a month, because he finally got to one of these books. He said, "How do you get up in the morning?" I said, "There you go," and that's the first step.
Yeah.
You're getting the point that there's a lot of information out there. And then when I saw him go through this, I said, we've got to get out of this book. We've got to finish this book,
right?
Because you've got to go on this journey yourself and figure out where your place is here.
Let me talk a little bit about movies and television. You told me as we sat down, Independence Day and Twister did not turn you on.
No, I didn't.
2 of the worst movies.
Well, I didn't. The public at large liked them. I expected so much, but especially out of Independence Day, because I'm a super science fiction freak, and I had a friend that worked on it. And he wouldn't tell me that. He said it's a real nice twist at the end, and it turned out to be an alien movie, and it wasn't. But I'm such a freak for science fiction. I expected something really cool about the twist, like a Twilight Zone twist, and it was. I'm watching, a spaceship the size of Manhattan, and Will Smith, who I just think is fantastic anyway, but he walks out of his house and doesn't notice it at first. Yeah. It's sitting over at the side. He goes, and I went, wow. Yeah. So there's just there's things I as a freak for this I didn't like, and then on the other side I saw I think is it Richard IV or
the third.
The third
with Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
Set in sort of, I think it was set in sort of pre-war Germany or
pre-war Germany and in England, and it was a fascinating setup. And I found myself all by myself at a theater. I don't know why it attracted me to go see it. Had no idea what it was about. And then I realized in the middle, I said,
as smart as you are.
Well, I thought, what a cool movie, and I said it looked like it was kind of that weird area they'd made a new life. Yeah. So I watched this. And then it was English speak. It was "Thou willest, doest this," and I'm still going, well, this is going to be a long day. And then I started getting into it, and I listened to it. And I was listening to dialogue, and halfway through this thing, there was an amazing scene where he had killed this woman's husband and her father to get the throne, and he went back, seduced her in this morgue. And the dialogue between the two of them was so condensed. I've seen movies, the whole movie's about that scene, and this dialogue was, and I looked around, I said, this is fabulous. Who wrote this thing? This guy, if I could get him to do it. And I'm looking around, and people just staring at me. Well, this is fabulous dialogue. Somebody should talk to this guy. Shakespeare, yeah. Oh, Bill, yeah.
Get him over here.
Get him over here. Is he around? And it was just a fabulous experience for me. Because I'd never been around Shakespeare, so I was filled with Shakespeare for the rest of these next 2 days. I'd go, this guy, I mean, people go, you're talking about Shakespeare. We all know Shakespeare. I mean, we know him.
Right.
This is the first time.
We've read his plays before.
We've read his plays before.
Yeah.
This is a guy that loves fart jokes.
Yeah.
I mean, I said, he does? Yeah, this guy is, when he went off in his comedies, he was kind of crazy. So I got into the Shakespeare thing. And it's nice to have it brought to you that way. And instead of forced on you as a kid, that Shakespeare was the best, to come naturally.
Just to find it on your own.
This guy, it was a fascinating movie.
Yeah. Home Improvement is doing well. Continues to do well.
We're doing our best.
Yeah, but is it sliding a little bit?
Well, what happened, truthfully, is that syndication, our own syndications hurt us. The show did very well, and it's
owned by Disney.
Owned by Disney. It's done very well in its own seasons, but now families can enjoy it 5 to 7 nights a week, sometimes 2 times a night, and there isn't so much impetus to watch the original episode. Because it's a little late for kids, and parents will let their kids stay up late for it, but now the kids can see it all during the week. Yeah. So we lost about 15 or 20% of our market share just in that alone. we're
Plus, you've had some healthy competition, too.
Oh, yeah, we've had the most competition of any
Friends,
Tuesday.
ER, and whatever else.
The Tuesday night lineup is now massive, but the writing is now in a groove. I've never been prouder of the writing. We're taking steps to get out of keep the characters the same, but show everybody something new and new faces. And the boys are growing up into marvelous actors. I'm all of a sudden getting sad because I can see the end of it.
You can.
Well, we're 6 years. What's the lifespan of a sitcom?
Roseanne can see the end of hers, too.
Oof. I mean, I think, you know, eventually there's just so much you can do. And now I don't know what she's doing. I don't know where the end of the show, maybe the end is.
So, how much control do you have over the show?
Well, I wouldn't say the word control. I use the word, I have a tremendous amount of influence. They now, because I have more love for the show, as much, if not more, than anybody else on the staff. And more love, and I've also been there longer.
Yeah.
We have a new staff, new writers, and now they come to me with story ideas and they pitch it to me. Now that they know that I'm not an angry star or something, to me, my advice is free. I know these characters very well because I developed to them. Wilson and Al are two developments of mine, so I know where they are. I know when you get a little stupid with it, I want to pull it back. And now they give me long-range script scenarios where we're going to go, and we've had some tremendous dialogue, and plus we're going to do some things I want to do. We have a claymation episode that's coming up. That's fabulous. We animated the family like those wonderful Christmas, you know, Frosty the Snowman thing, and those little things. Or the Norelco guy, the little Santa Claus guy. We had that Will Vinton from I think Portland. He did this fabulous rendition of all the characters. It took him 3 or 4 months to get it.
I think we have that clip. Roll tape. Here it is.
Boy, I feel a little stiff.
Hey, Dad, what gives? We woke up this morning and we're all made of wood.
Randy, let's not get hung up on how we look. There are more important things to think about during the holidays.
Like your lighting contest?
Nope. I'm through putting Christmas lights on this house. I'm giving all the holiday lights to the homeless.
And where exactly are the homeless going to hang them?
Good point. We'll give them the house, too. Let's start with the kitchen. Come on! What's on? Lighter than this. Oh, there you go. Ha, ha! Woo! Boys, go get your rooms and put them in the box.
But where are we gonna live?
You people have got to stop thinking about yourselves.
Tim, you've changed. You're caring, giving, you're loving. And you've got a termite coming out of your ear.
That's going to be on when?
Thanksgiving.
That'll be on Thanksgiving.
The week of Thanksgiving, Tuesday night.
Next week.
Next week.
When you look around at what's happening, Ellen DeGeneres, am I saying that right? Ellen, she's talking about creating her character becomes known as a lesbian character. You think that's a smart move?
Well, I like Ellen quite a bit. I think the show, if it's talking from, I actually am an executive producer. If I would be on her show, it's a little confusing now because I haven't made a decision. I don't know how to say this right. My dad always said, you know, poop or get off the toilet. I mean, it sounds so horrible, but that's, you know, he said just make a decision.
Yeah, right.
And
he said it much more
little bolder than that.
More snap to it.
Yeah. But he was. It really hit me in the gut when he was a kid. You know, make a decision.
Either do it or don't do it. Quit talking about it.
Quit talking about it because it now muddies the issue. It would be a bold step. I think it'd be interesting to see a lesbian couple.
Yeah.
To go through the same problems everybody else goes through. It's a big gamble. I'm not sure that America's ready to have a lesbian couple. Arguing, bickering, making up, going through life like this. I think it's real interesting. It would be real bold. Excuse me, but to go halfway where we don't know, I think they're kind of confusing the issue now.
Well, it's both owned by is that character owned by ABC? That show owned by not by ABC by Disney, as well.
Same thing, ABC, Disney.
No, that's right. Actually, now it's the same thing.
Right,
but Disney was a Disney creation by the Disney television people.
Right.
And they haven't decided, and
Well, I went in there. I went into her bungalow, which is right near mine on the
Her
Burbank.
bungalow's near your bungalow?
Right, well, their offices, and I walked in. I said, "Is she or isn't she?" I walked through their studio thing, just screaming, "I've got to know!
Yes.
America's got to somebody tell me!" And I was shaking people. Is she? And they, we can't tell. And it was quite a funny day.
Yeah. There are a lot of lesbian and there are a lot of gay characters on television, are there not? A appreciable number, but they're worried now that can a lesbian character be the lead for a show? Can it carry a show?
Can it carry a show? And I you know, my mom likes her a lot anyway, and I don't.
So what'd your mom say?
Well, I don't think she cares. She just, as long as she's funny and tells a story. I think we're grown up enough. I think we are, but I said it's just a ridiculous. You know, it's ridiculous that this even is an issue. You know, your orientation. Why don't I guess I just don't understand why are we in the position where it's even an issue, and why it's the position we got to hide it. But it is that we've got to grow up, I guess.
Did people come to you this year and say, we've got to do another Santa Claus movie?
Well, you bet.
Because it did, over $100 million.
142 million, something like that. It was big.
Then why didn't somebody do it?
Well, because I don't want to spoil it. There's so many movies out there to be made, and it's ridiculous to go back to the well because you're scared. Try something else. I mean, I got 70 scripts that I look at. I mean, I have people read scripts to see if I find the next movie, and there's tremendous movies out there, but they're so dollar-oriented, which is their agenda, and that's their job. But they want to go back and make Santa Claus 2, and I read it, and I said,
It was no good.
well, it's not no good, but Santa Claus 1 was wonderful. Why diminish it? I think it was a great movie. I loved it, everything about it, but let's move on.
You've gotten to the place where you're not going to do things just for money if it doesn't turn you on.
Oh, or for anybody's benefit. You know, I hate to see anybody do creative things just for money.
Yeah.
You know, but it's easy for me to say because I'm in a position to say no to that sort of thing. You know, they'd like to do Toy Story again. I think that can be done again. That was a beautiful story, and it was great animation. It was a neat little. I would consider doing that one again.
What was it, John Lasseter? Is that his name? And Steve Jobs came here on the show and talked about it. What an amazing technology that
Well,
is.
it's just like Hollywood. You'll hear it was just a fabulous story. It could have been done in stick figures, and it was just a beautiful story about friendship, you know, and betrayal and all. It's just a neat little story, and then it's sad and wonderful. And
their hope is it will live forever.
Well, Disney will make sure it'll be everywhere. You know,
Disney is an amazing company.
They must be stopped.
Hear that, Michael? Go ahead.
I do that on the set all the time. We were doing a tribute to the 25 years of Disney World or something like this, and I turned to the monitor and I said, "Congratulations, Disney. They've got to be stopped." I put them in the same thing as Microsoft. They can't get much bigger. Pretty soon, you know, it's going to be, you know, New York, and then outside of it, just Disney.
Well, they'll combine then. It'll be Microsoft, Disney.
And just gigantic. I mean, how much bigger do you have to get? They're just nonstop. It's a machine of just creativity constantly.
And you went off and made a movie with Universal.
Yes.
And did they like that?
No.
They didn't like that.
No, they didn't like it. But it wasn't anything. It wasn't based on malice. It just the project.
Competition. You're our guy, and why are you making
movies with
down
Universal?
the street?
Yeah.
You know,
said,
aren't our movies good enough for you? We had no scripts that you liked.
Well, that was it. I told Mr. Eisner in a nice way at a fundraiser. I said that it just didn't happen. Yeah, I think they learned something about being aggressive about finding scripts, because I don't think they were as aggressive as they could have been, because the other studios were very aggressive about luring me away.
Yeah.
And I said, and it wasn't money or anything. It was finding a creative project. I said, I'm kind of looking for this sort of thing, and Disney was aware of it. And then, boom, Universal came up and was very aggressive. And I said, it was a neat project.
But what is Mr. Allen doing to create for himself? When he's writing books, can you create characters? Can you create scripts? Are you?
I bought a movie. It'll be my own. It's a really cool one-act play sort of thing. And that'll be under my production company. And I'm voraciously trying to put together a even longer process than this. I've written two very scary sci-fi movies, one of which I can't find a part for myself in. I'd have to rewrite it. And one guy suggested, make it a comedy. And I said, no, that hasn't been. Imagine Aliens as a comedy. And I said, that doesn't work. And the other one is a pretty good science fiction yarn that I would have to play a villain. And this is like the book. I'm edging towards different things, and this of course still has a lot of humor in it. But if I played a villain, would the public at large like you know, Tim the Toolman Taylor is a pretty evil guy.
Do you watch the Sci-Fi Channel?
Mm-hmm.
You do? Mm-hmm. You like sci-fi that much that you were...
Well, but I found out it's almost like a collection. There is a finite number of science fiction films. Yeah. I think I've either got on video or Laserdisc or tape, my own tape collection.
I've certainly seen them at least once.
At least once. I've got I have most of them. Yeah. So there aren't any new ones out. They don't make the old B, you know, the monsters look like fish. That B movies anymore. There isn't the cheesy science fiction that's turned into today's collectibles, and the big sci-fis are just big.
I'm bouncing around here because I mean I like you and I find out more things about you each time. Politics. What are your politics?
Oh, this just came up today. I actually, out of frustration, voted for Perot because I saw the last gasp he did, and it instead
when he was making the character plea against the president.
Well, not only that, but he just said, "This is the problem here. Let's just do this. This is what I say about this. This is the problem. They tell you this. This is the truth." And I said, and it appealed to me. I said, I just like to take
because it was Mr. Fix-It.
We'll
raise up the hood and get under there.
I've worked on his thing about child care. I've always felt the same. Spend the money on babies rather than prisoners. You know, let's start early with that. I've had these projects in Houston, and he just seems to have clear-cut things that you could start tomorrow. And I like that there's no PAC connection with him. He doesn't need it. Granted, as my wife points out, he's been running a business. And the government's not like a business. There's a lot of cooperation and all the schmoozing in the government.
Your wife sounds terrific.
No, she is terrific.
I mean, she's smart. She knows when to tell you, just grow up, Tim. For goodness sakes.
But I felt bad because I think Bob Dole's, I don't know him, but he looks like an honest, sincere, a great American who went through the war. It's unfortunately, it seemed like a tired format. You know, there isn't enough people that care. I happen to be one that does care about veterans, you know, because it's hard to describe how this country was formed on this. We fought in this is an honorable man, just seemed a step out of it to me. And I just felt, because that's who I liked his politics. I just wasn't sure.
In the Senate, he was he was one of the giants of the Senate.
Right.
Much admired, he just didn't have a campaign. He never tracked. He never got any traction.
And everyone that I know that's spoken to or knows him, he's a funny guy, real warm.
Oh, he was on Letterman after he lost the election, and he was hilarious.
Right.
You know, and there's a chance that people like Bob Dole. Hubert Humphrey, after losing the race to Nixon, came back to the Senate and became much admired. Was sick and dying, and there Walter Mondale has found a wonderful life. He's ambassador to Japan. Barry Goldwater, after losing, went back to Arizona, and I think began to change some of his positions, but became a very interesting guy. I mean, he wasn't doctrinaire in terms of what he said and what he believed. And
well, all this is character building too.
Yeah, it is.
It's easy for me to say, but I don't know the wherefores. And I said I got a birthday greeting from Clinton, so I got kind of like him. I don't know where that came from. So
what do you mean? He called you up?
No, he wrote me a nice letter. I got a letter when I was in the jungle, FedEx down to me. And I thought it was one of my brothers because I couldn't believe that. Why would he send me? You know.
Wait a minute. The president sent
you
sent me
a birthday greeting. I still think it's
was it typed out? Said what did it say?
Typed up. We want to wish you a happy birthday on this occasion from our family to yours, something like this. And it was a very, very nice. It's just a greeting, and he signed.
I think what you should do is the following.
I sent it back. I said, no.
I think what you should do is said, Mr. President, just fax him back. I didn't know you cared. I'm going to be in Washington next week. I'd love to just drop by for a chat, and maybe overnight. I'd stay in the Lincoln bedroom. Yeah. It'll be nice for me, nice for you.
And
if you want to play, I mean, or you could say to him, I know you're over in Australia on your visit, playing golf and having a good time and doing important things for the nation. Nobody's at the White House. Let me just
Can I just stay
the
there?
night.
You mind? Because I'm kind of
I'll have some friends over. My friends are in a little bit of a malaise, and they need to sort of cheer them up. And this will give them a new kind of thing.
I should send him the book, is what you should do.
Send him the book. Tim Allen, the book is I'm Not Really Here. It's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
It's a big pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Good talking to you.
Tim Allen, the book is I Am Not Really Here. Coming up next, a conversation with Roseanne recorded last week in Los Angeles.